Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily. My name is Aaron. The reason why you subscribe is because on a daily basis, we break down everything going on in the cryptocurrency space. We make Bitcoin, we make crypto easy to understand. We clue you in, show you what's going on, show you the immense growth going on in the space or what is actually happening behind the scenes. And that's exactly what we're doing in today's video. It has come to my attention that the masses are still being fooled when it comes to Bitcoin cryptocurrency, that many people are being manipulated, being deceived, being tricked into thinking that Bitcoin is in a bear market. And if you look at the data, like I'm going to show you in this video, you're going to understand that that's nowhere near the truth. Unequivocally, Bitcoin is in a bull market. People are buying the dip, and I'm going to show you the data and prove it to you. And if you appreciate that, give the video a like. And I want to start right here. Before we get to the data, before we get to the charts, before we get to Cardano and DeFi, we need to talk about this historic piece of news that will affect Bitcoin going forward. This is creating a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of doubt in the market right now. And we're going to talk about what this means for Bitcoin holders, what this means for the Bitcoin network, and what this means for cryptocurrency going forward. There's three big takeaways, but the news is this, that China, SHUTDOWN, has ordered the shutdown on 26 Bitcoin mining farms. Yes, you heard that correctly. China's last safe haven for Bitcoin miners has ordered a shutdown, and that is being carried out, has been being carried out. And what did we see? Bitcoin hash rate falls 17% overnight after China mining crackdown. And again, 26 mining farms are having their power cut. This is a historic event happening for Bitcoin. It's been said for a long time that China has a lot of the Bitcoin mining hash power. That's no longer going to be the case. And again, is this good for Bitcoin? Is this bad for Bitcoin? I think that this is unequivocally good for Bitcoin. Three main points, and I'm going to let Nick Carter articulate it to you. I've shared this video with you before if you subscribe to the channel. Real quick, the three takeaways are that this is good because this reduces China's influence over Bitcoin. Number two, this is good because this is better for the environment. And number three, this is good because this really does not have a major effect on Bitcoin's hash rate or security. And a 17% drop really isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. It's going to bounce right back. Listen to Nick Carter.
Emergency press conference. China potentially banning Bitcoin mining. What does it mean? So earlier today, some reports started to come out that China might be getting more aggressive in terms of targeting miners. This isn't a surprise. This is a continuation of what had already begun. Mining was already banned in the province of Inner Mongolia, which is heavily coal-powered. Is this good or bad? Well, people like me have actually been asking for this to happen. Anticipating it, I was looking forward to it, and I'm glad that it's happening. First of all, it reduces China's ability to potentially influence Bitcoin. There was an outside chance that at some point they would use the China domiciled hash rate to launch an attack on Bitcoin. This wasn't really something that I thought was very likely, but now by continuing to ban mining in China, they're not going to have any leverage or ability to do that. Second of all, this is good as far as Bitcoin's carbon footprint is concerned. As we all know, there's lots of coal in China, and that was partly used for mining. By banning mining in places that are coal-powered, China is reducing Bitcoin's aggregate carbon emissions. This is an effective subsidy to Western, cleaner-based miners, and so it dramatically improves the emissions factor of the Bitcoin network. So this is something we should be celebrating. Now, with regards to security, is this going to make Bitcoin less secure? Not really. Bitcoin security doesn't really increase with a single marginal unit of hash rate. Bitcoin is overwhelmingly secure. It's secure at many thresholds. Even if hash rate were to drop by 50 or 80%, it would still be considered secure. The worst that will happen will be if hash rate goes offline, blocks might be slower for a week or two. That's really it. So in short, this is good for Bitcoin's climate impact. This reduces China's leverage over Bitcoin, and it doesn't really affect its security. It's a good thing.
Bitcoin is in a bull market. This is not debatable. And to prove this to you, let's head on over to Willy Woo on-chain expert. He looks at what is going on chain. We've never been able to do this to an asset class in history before, but because everything is on the blockchain, and finally, we have years of data that we can compare it to. Many people don't know this data is available, and this is very revealing. Oh my, Rick Astley is back. What does this mean? That means that the people buying Bitcoin today have a history. They're never going to give it up. Coins are moving back to the hodlers who never deserted Bitcoin in the first place. Again, we're looking at the Bitcoin supply chain for circulating supply, TLDR. Wallets that have a history of accumulating Bitcoin and selling very little are buying this dip hardcore, and that is undisputable. We just looked at the previous chart was a 30-day sum of coin movement, but now we're going to move in to a 7-day view showing greater granularity. We can see how the mass of coins dumped out to speculative hands are being reaccumulated by strong hands in a pattern very similar to the pandemic recovery, which took 8 weeks to recover. But take a look at this. So this is the pandemic. This is where we are now. Do you remember how much fear and uncertainty and doubt was in the market when Bitcoin dipped this much and stayed low for this long? We saw a huge spike in people buying and continued to see that for 8 weeks. We're seeing almost the exact same thing happen here. So let's move forward. So who is selling? Well, who isn't selling? Whales aren't selling. Sharks aren't selling. Dolphins aren't selling. Big hodlers are hodling. Check this out. So entities with a balance of 1K to 10K, they sold a little bit. These were like the newer whales back here, but now they're not selling at all. Big hodlers are hodling. Supply held 100 Bitcoins to 1,000 Bitcoins. Again, they have stopped selling. In fact, they even bought a little bit more. Big holders are hodling. How about octopuses and fishies? Well, they're stacking the dip as well. These are entities with a balance of 10 to 100 Bitcoin. And again, there was an initial sell-off, but what we've been seeing in the past couple weeks is this, up. This is what we like to see. Let's go even further. Crabs are stacking as hard as their little shells will let them. And again, yes, there was this initial sell-off, but we need to check out what is actually going on today. And the dip is being bought right here. You cannot deny this. Moving forward, let's talk about us. Let's talk about the shrimps. Shrimps are taking their lead and stacking like there's no tomorrow, especially in the latest dip. They continue to stack, and when the price dipped, they stacked even harder. User growth as strong as ever on the network. A network is only as strong as its users. A network is only as strong as its growth, and we're seeing network growth as strong as ever. So yeah, Bitcoin is definitely in a bear market, folks. Sarcasm. Now here's the thing, guys. This is the first cycle where people are realizing that Bitcoin and crypto, but more specifically Bitcoin, is here to stay. Every other cycle in Bitcoin's last 12, 13 years, people were looking to cash out their Bitcoin because they didn't want to be the last to sell. They didn't realize that Bitcoin had a future. Most people still don't, but the people in the know, like us, like people who subscribe to our channel, are realizing more than ever, and also like the big whales, like we just saw, that Bitcoin is here to stay, and we're in a bull market. Now let's move forward. DeFi is exploding, unequivocally so. Last year, we saw 82 million unique addresses. Now there are over 150 million. This data is compelling. I tweeted this out. If you follow us on Twitter, you already saw this. Dune Analytics. Let's go over. This is awesome. So what we're looking at is total DeFi users over time. A user is a unique address. Since a user can have multiple addresses, the numbers below are overestimates. But, we can look at the trend. So we're going to see total DeFi users and then users for specific protocols. As you recall, before 2018, DeFi was really nothing. Only in 2019 did we first start reporting on it and it first started becoming a thing. In 2020, I got real bullish on DeFi. People were still very bearish in 2020, but I kept trying to show you guys, the metrics are trending up so much in 2020. There's no way this thing isn't going to explode. And it did. And the metrics are still trending up. So let's get to some specific protocols. We'll just go through them real quick, but you can take a look at what the charts look like. Total Uniswap users over time, total Compound users over the time, parabolic. total 1inch users over time, total sushi swap users over time. And there was a time, by the way, when just, before this parabolic increase, when, in the middle right here, when this looked like a parabolic increase, or this looked like a parabolic increase. So total balancer users, total Kyber users, MakerDAO, Aave, DYDX, Curve, basically everything on DeFi Pulse, Tornado Cash, Instadap, 0x, Yearn, Bancor, pulled together. Go through this yourself. Follow us on Twitter, and you will see that DeFi is exploding and the users are exploding. It's just undeniable that we are at the forefront. We're at the cutting edge of this crypto growth, and most people do not realize that this is happening. Now, beyond that, there's so much building. The crypto space is so much more interoperable today than it has ever been. And last cycle, interoperability was only a myth. Well, now it's a reality. Ren Bridge adds support for Bitcoin on Solana. So I believe prior this was only available for Ethereum. Well, now they're interoperable with Solana as well. Ren has launched a direct bridge to Solana. It allows users to move tokenized versions of Bitcoin and other assets onto the Layer 1 Solana blockchain. They can do this on Ethereum and Solana now. This is only going to get more interoperable. This is pretty interesting. CoinShares, a reputable company, a reputable data firm, and I'll show you. Basically, Cardano and Stellar Lumen have captured the attention of institutional investors. We already know that institutional investors buy Bitcoin hardcore, buy a little bit of ETH. Beyond that, I found it rather interesting. This is the CoinShares data. You can take a look at this yourself. It breaks it down into specific institutions. But the point is that institutions have been buying Cardano and Stellar Lumen, and that's interesting to note. By the way, smart contracts for Cardano are about 90 days away. And also 2 months ago, you probably remember this if you subscribe, 21 Shares launches Stellar and Cardano ETPs, very similar to ETFs where you just have to buy the ticker. This is a global first for both. So Cardano and Stellar still in the game. Personally, I like Cardano more than Stellar, but we watch them both on this channel and anything could happen. Dogecoin. Car crashes, and so does Doge's price. Dogecoin sponsorship in yesterday's NASCAR race turned out to be a dud.
Little contact right there, just turns his car sideways down the front straightaway. Just, wow, right, really close there. For Mills in the 5. Very lucky to miss.
We talk a lot.
Look at the rear tires off the ground.
Tire off the ground.
Well, I was going to say, we talk a lot about the racetrack and keep it up and how great it looks. Remember, 10 years since the NASCAR race has been here, but soft.
That is it for me today. My name is Aaron at Altcoin Daily. We're in an interesting time, right? I think, we have the best part of the bull market still ahead of us, and I guess I'll just leave you with this video. Helps put things in perspective. Don't buy Bitcoin because it's going to crash.
This one time, Bitcoin went from 6 cents all the way to 36 cents, and then it crashed down to 21 cents. And then another time, Bitcoin went from 85 cents all the way to $29, and then it crashed to $3. And then another time, Bitcoin went all the way to $213, and then it crashed all the way to $70. And then another time, Bitcoin went all the way to $1,100, and then it crashed all the way to $239. So the moral of the story is don't buy Bitcoin because it's going to crash again.